There's a section in West Africa where the storyteller would call out, "How many ears do you have?" And the audience would respond, "Two." Then he'd say, "Well, you're going to need your third ear to listen to this next story." You see, listening with the third ear allows you to understand the whole story. It is the third ear that helps you discern the truth, not just in facts and fiction, facts and figures. The third ear knows that true wisdom is found not only in college classrooms or Sunday school lessons, but is picked up in conversations overheard by children whose parents thought they were sleeping. Ladies and gentlemen, storytellers and story lovers, today you're going to need your third ear to understand and fully enjoy these master storytellers that are coming before you today in our fourth Friday concert storytelling series. 3 storytellers. I am your host, Ivory D. And there is Larry Castleberry, and Anthony Tone Ross, who will present and show you how we got our own thing. Are you ready? How many ears do you have? Let us begin. Hey, Larry, do your thing.
1991. I was about to get my first profit-sharing check. Oh yeah. I was a young man, Ford Explorer, 2-door with a stick shift. I decided I was going to take that profit-sharing check and I was going to go to Chicago. I asked my girlfriend at the time, "Baby, you want to go?" She said, "Oh yeah." I talked to my friend. He says, "Hey, I can hook you up with a stay at the Drake Hotel for a reduced price." Oh yeah. I made my arrangements. And then I got the notice at work that because of the economic situation, we weren't going to get a profit sharing check. Before I cashed it, I had spent it. But it's okay. I'm going to Chi-Town and I'm taking my girl. So I went to AAA and I got what is the equivalent of Google Maps. AAA trip ticket. But see, back then, AAA understood that you knew how to drive a car. Because if the directions told you to go into Lake Michigan, you knew not to go. And if you did, you shouldn't be driving anyway. So I drove down 94, looking at my trip ticket and driving until I made it to the Drake Hotel. I got out, took my one bag and my girlfriend's one bag. And do you know that there was a porter who actually went up to the room with us? Another young brother, black man to black man. What up, though? He held out his hand. I know what that means. I slapped the brother 5. He kept his hand out. I looked at him. I gave him the Michigan salute. What up, though? My girlfriend looked at me and said, "You're supposed to tip." Oh, I understand. I reached in my wallet. I pulled out a crisp $1 bill and held it out before him. He looked at me and said, without moving his mouth, I said, "Oh, okay." I took my wallet and pulled out another crisp $2 bill, or $1 bill, $2. I went like this. Brother did exactly what you doing. I reached in my wallet again and pulled out another $1 bill. He did that. I reached in and put out a 5. He did that. I handed the man $5 and he went on about his business. I'm here in Chi-Town. My girlfriend and I decided we were going to do Chicago. I went to get my car out, but they told me, well, that would be $25. $25 to get my car out of your garage? So you stand at the drain. Every time your car leaves our parking lot, that's $25. My car is going to stay in your parking lot. We then went by foot and explored Chicago. Later on that evening, we decided we were going to get something to eat. We went to this restaurant called Peabody's. We had to wait. 2 hours later, we came back. Our tables were ready. We sat down. Now, my girlfriend is looking at that menu, and she orders some escargots. I looked at that menu, and I saw the price of escargots. And it then occurred to me that a White Castle's man and a Red Lobster woman is probably a bad combination. But a little voice in my head said, you better make a phone call. So I used the 1991's equivalent of a cell phone. I got up and went to the payphone. Picked it up and dialed the 1-800 number on my credit card. And it said, your available credit is $1.00, all of which can be used for a cash advance. I hit zero. The operator came on and said, may I help you, sir? Now that entire time when I was in Chicago, I've been using my deep 20-year-old man voice. But when that operator came on, I used my mama voice. Can you help me, please? It says I only got $1 of money left, and I know I had money on this credit card when I left home. Lady said, hold on 1 second. She says, oh, you're staying at the drain. I said, yeah. She says, they put a hold on that card, honey. That used up what you had left for your living. I said, well, what do I want to do? See, my deep voice is gone now. But what do I want to do? I'm here with my girlfriend. I'm trying to make an impression. We have the rest. She ordered escargots. She says, She said, well, did you look at the menu? I said, yeah. Do they have salad on the menu? Yeah. Well, order yourself a salad and a water. I said, She started laughing and said, I'm just playing. She said, Mr. Castleberry, you are due for a credit increase. Would you like it? My deep voice came back, yes, please. She increased my credit. I went back there full of confidence, and my girlfriend and I, we ate. And we did up Chicago. We did the popcorn places. We went to the museums. We had a good time. But let me explain something to you. That's a mistake I will never in my life make again. Because I learned that before you spend it, you make sure that check is clear and that money is in the bank. Oh, and regarding White Castle man and a Red Lobster woman, I learned to look for the White Castle lady. There ain't nothing wrong with the little White Castles. The details, but I'm not done. Because I got another story I want to share with you. You see, recently, I did a storytelling event at the Ark in Ann Arbor. And in that storytelling event, I talked about shipments and family values. Now, I see some of you making a face about shipments, but what I really talked about was that there's only 2 types of hot sauce in the world. Tabasco and hot sauce. Not good enough to be Tabasco. People laughed. They applauded. My fellow storyteller said, you, sir, are on your way. I thought I was hot stuff. In fact, I had a new name. I had graduated to, one day, maybe, a master storyteller. Yes. But then I was summoned by an elder, a master storyteller, who had shaved his head because he was afraid of frightening people with the wisdom that was coming from him. What he didn't realize when he shaved his head is that when the sun found that head and reflected off that bald scalp, it actually blinded people with that wisdom. So he resorted to putting the cap on his head to prevent from blinding people. This master storyteller, who is known as Today I Am, summoned me to come before him. I went in. He didn't speak a word. He just did this. I came in. He then looked at me and said, which was a motion for me to go ahead and speak. And I told him about my storytelling experience. I told him how I talked to them about the importance of Tabasco and how we had to put it on a certain way on your food. That master storyteller looked at me and he let me finish speaking. And when I was done, and he made sure I was done, he motioned for me to sit down. Then, out of nowhere, he produced a bottle of Frank's Red Hot. He then spoke. He said, young man, this is the hot sauce of Detroit.
Come on.
Do you not understand that this hot sauce was actually started in the city of Detroit? Now, I started to say something because I had read that Frank's Red Hot was actually started in Cincinnati. And I started to open my mouth and everything just stopped. Because you know, you don't speak when your elder is speaking. And I came very close to graduating or being demoted from one day maybe to no day never will be. But I caught myself just in a nick of time. And I took this and I closed it. I put my hands back together to make sure the elder understood that I knew my place. It would not interrupt him. With the near catastrophe now avoided, the elder went on to speak. He said, don't you understand that it was this hot sauce right here, that actually got Detroiters through the Depression? Do you understand that Frank's Red Hot is responsible for bringing more families together at events such as Thanksgiving and barbecues than anything else in the world? Do you not understand that buffalo wings are used as Frank's Red Hot sauce? And for you to speak about Tabasco in the state of Michigan is sacrilegious. Are you listening to me, young man, when I speak to you? I took my head and I nodded and I said, yes, sir. He then said, the next time you go give a storytelling event or give a story or tell a story, make sure you have your facts straight. And don't you ever disrespect the city of Detroit like that again. I said, yes, sir. And I left. A few weeks later, I went to Memphis, Tennessee, home of the blues and rock and roll. And while in Memphis, one thing became very clear to me. In every restaurant I went into, whether it was B.B. King's or the other barbecue restaurants, I saw lots of hot sauce, but never did I see Frank's Red Hot. Is right. Now, I went there in Memphis and I enjoyed those Memphis ribs that were second only to my daddy's Georgia ribs, cooked the proper way. I had lots of good food there in Memphis, Tennessee. But then one day, back at B.B. King for the 9th time, I ordered the catfish. And you know when you have catfish, you need
Right.
hot sauce. Now, what wasn't there at BB King's? Frank's Red Hot wasn't there. But Tabasco was. I took my right hand and I started to reach for that Tabasco when suddenly, out of nowhere, there was an arm and a hand with a bottle of Frank's Red Hot. And a disembodied voice said to me, "The wise ones listen to the advice of their elders and bear the fruit. The foolish ignores the advice of their elders and suffer the consequences. The choice is yours." Ladies and gentlemen, I grabbed that bottle of Frank's Red Hot and I put it on my catfish and I ate my catfish Detroit style, one fork at a time, and I represented the deep with some red hot sauce. Because Mama told me, listen to your elders. And as the Bible said, your days will be numbered.
Excellent. That reminds me of the original black storyteller, Aesop, the Ethiopian, Aesop, the African, Aesop, whose bag of stories today we know as Aesop's fables. Short stories tinged with humor and always with ending with a moral that strengthens values and principles. I have a set of stories. Let's see, Fables by Ivory D. No, that's not it. Ivory's Fables. No. I see. How about Details, Ivory? While I ponder my bag of stories. A. Tone, do your thing.
Generally, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I drive a truck for a living across country. And basically what I see a lot of things that go on. When you're driving down the expressway or down the street, does your mind kind of play tricks on you? Does it kind of wander off and you start imagining things? Well, one day in Minneapolis, outside of Minneapolis, St. Paul, I was driving across, and just to show you a menu, this deer was running across the field, and we could all see him coming for a long way because it was all flat. And as he approached the fence, we all kind of stopped, and he sat, jumped over, and he ran across the highway, ran down the ravine, jumped over, and he went on, jumped over the fence, and kept going. Nothing was chasing him. But we said, okay, whatever's going on is fine. That brings me to, as I drove a little further, we saw a cow walk across the expressway, which we thought was kind of crazy. And I'll talk about the cow bit a little later. But this particular time, I drove up behind a chicken truck. And a chicken truck is a truck going to the place, that process the chicken that you eat and you get wrapped up at Kroger's and all those good stores. We won't get into that detail, but that's where I was going. And generally when you're driving up, you kind of know that you're behind a chicken truck because there's feathers flowing for a mile before you reach the truck. As I approach the truck and I went to go by it, you can see all the chickens in the truck going crazy because they knew where they were going. They knew what was ahead of them. Now this is where my mind took a deep turn. As I got to the side of it, I looked at one chicken, and the one chicken was like this. Like he was hiding because he was embarrassed that he knew he had gotten caught and that he was going to where they were supposed to be going. Other two chickens were standing there and they actually were fussing at each other. It looked like their wings were going like this at each other, and you would think they were fussing at each other, and one looked like he was saying, "Man, we got caught because of you." No, you got caught. You were supposed to be a lookout. I drove a little further, and two other chickens were sitting there, and one was holding the side of the cage like he was in prison. Like, "Let me out of here. Let me out of here." But then these two chickens I rode up on, they weren't moving. They were just standing. Look, both of them. And as I don't need you no way. We know where we going. Lo and behold, I didn't know where they were going. We were all going to the same place. Because I was going to pick up Patty's chicken. Now, when I go places on the road, and that's how the place I don't know about, I have a tendency to wander off the dock. While they're loading the truck, I go in the plane, look around, that kind of deal. I saw in Canada how Camaro was made. I walked in to the point the guy had to come get me. He said, "You come on, man." He said, "Before you drive off with the Camaro, you come on back." I saw farm equipment in Wichita, Kansas. How it was made. It's real big, and I wanted to get up on and drive, and the guy said, "Not today." So he went into one, the chicken truck went in one way, and I went around to the other side. And as usual, I wandered off. And I came in this room where the truck was, and backed in. And in this room was one big room. It was big. And the side piece was about that high. And what he does is he lifts all these OZ cages up, and all the chickens get out. So now the chickens are running around in this circle. So I basically walked up, and there's about 5 guys just around the circle. And what happens is they flip the switch after the truck leaves, and the thing kind of closes in like this. Well, at the end, over here, is a chute, and that chute opens up. And what it is a vacuum, and it pulls the chickens in. That's the beginning of the process. As the chickens were pulling and going in the chute, they basically were like screaming. And some were like, no, don't leave, no. The two I saw that were the one that was embarrassed, he kept trying to figure out how to get around, and the other chicken just basically pushed him in the chute like, "Man, you're going to go ahead and go." Chickens come up, jumped over. I didn't know chickens had some hops too. They get kind of high. They jumped over, these guys are getting them, taking them to put them back. Well, they put them back, and they kept on going. Then they got down to the last one. Then the guys jumped over, and then they scooped the rest of them in. When they were basically done, the two chickens that we kind of made eye contact with was sitting on the ledge way over there in the corner. And they were just standing there. And they made eye contact with me again. Like, really? So you just gonna watch us go to the end? You wasn't gonna help us no kind of way. And he looked at his boy like, "You see that?" He just gonna let stand and let us go like this. So the other guys got out the thing and they were going to leave. And I was standing there and I said, "Hey, what about those two guys, those two chickens over there?" And they said, "Oh yeah." And that's when the other one looked at me and did like this. Like, you just gonna snitch on us? Really? So the guys went over to go get them. But the one chicken, the first one that was like the meanest one, they jumped down. And the one chicken put his hand up like this. And as they walked to the opening, they kept looking at me like, "Right, man, right. Mm-hmm. Right, man. We'll see you around." And he got to the end and went, and on in the shoe he went. I just shook my head. I was like, "This is crazy." That's me like, "You're driving too much." The Tyson chicken then, and this is the wild part. When I got back to the dock, got in the truck to leave, and I'm looking in the back of the truck and I see the pallets and all that. I could have sworn one chicken was like, "You know you did this wrong, man. You know you did this wrong." Because he had his wing up like this, poking through the house. Like, "You know you did this wrong." Pretty wild. Details. You got to pay attention to details. I'm telling you. I told you about the cow. Over the thing. So now the cow was out in the middle of the field. And this particular time, I had to go to where I picked up potatoes out in Idaho. Man, I had to go figure potatoes in Idaho. Anyway, I had to pick potatoes in Idaho. And you go out to this field, and what you do is you sit there and open the doors, and this guy comes in and pushes the potatoes in. Well, I'm sitting in this truck and I'm watching this guy with his cow. And he was trying to get the cow to come back to the rest of the cows. See, you got to pay attention to detail. The other crew, the cows were all on the other side over there, and they were just looking. They looked like a crew. They all crewed up. They were looking like, "Man, y'all over In the meantime, I want to go back and tell the guys, hey man, you got a guy out there trying to do a cow up there, mess with the cows. And then I thought about it and I said, man, mind my business. Because see, they always say mind your business. That's why I mind my business. And as I opened my candy and standing there watching him, and I'm looking at him, the particular cow kicked. And I mean, he kicked. And you know what the funny part is this, that, you know, you think you get kicked once, you would call it a day. Because they only kicked him a little bit. It's only a foot like about 2 feet. But instead, he gets up, like that wasn't enough. And the cow looked back at him like, really? You coming back at me? So this time he kicked him about 5 feet. And I looked at him and I was like, you're going to get it soon, you're going to get the message. But in the meantime, I'm going to mind my business. Some time went by, and finally the cows came over and got him together. They smart, cows are smart. They work together, they work as a team. As he got up the last time, they got kicked about 2 more times. The cows all got together and they went like, okay man, you don't get it, so we don't get with you. And the cows started working together. And that's when I turned and said, hey, you ain't paying attention to details, man. They like people in the street in the game, man. They get with you. He looked and saw what was going on and took over. And I said, okay. Well, some time went by, and I went to the truck stop. And I was getting some gas. And up alongside pulled a cattle hauler. Now, cattle haulers is when they carry cattle and they take them to all kind of places. The guy, I walked along the side, and the guy goes, hey, of the truck. He goes, hey, don't walk on the side there. And I go, why not? He goes, you don't want to do that. Come on back, don't walk, come on the side. And I said, all right. And he said, the cattle usually get upset and they'll spray. And I said, oh. I said, ladies, talking to him. On the other side of the pump, side of him, another guy pulled him. And he went to do the same thing. I'm minding my business. And I hear him, hey, don't do that. Go over the side of the truck. And he goes, man, mind your business. I'm doing what I want to do. You don't mind me, this, that, no. He said, the guy's like, no. So I walk around there. And I looked and I went, hey, you know, mind my business. Watch this. And I gave the guy one. I said, here you go. Because it's going to be good. As the guy walked them down the side, the one cow sprayed. And you would think, if you get sprayed once, you move. That's that simple. But no, he stood it. Like he was Captain Marvel or something. He was fighting it off or something. I'm like, dude, move. So what he did was, the guy said, hey, he said, run out of there. And he was like, the cow spraying me. So he took a step over. I told you, guys work together. So then this guy got him. And he literally was running back up and forth down the truck, and they were all taking shots at him. All taking shots. And the guy looked at the truck driver, looked at me and said, you believe this? And I go, not in a million years. But I tell you what, I'm going to mind your business because attention to detail is big. And that's what they did. And I went on and looked at him and I said, you know, you can't get back in the truck because it's full of stuff. You can't get in the truck. You get sprayed by a cop. You can't get back in the truck. And that's what they clothes are right there. And here's the nerve to say, they say, why didn't you tell me? I said, really now? Seriously. You need one of these, man, because you're going to have a long day. And I went on about minding my business. I'm telling you, details, man. Something else. Details. Unbelievable.
Details. Donkey and Tiger were in a discussion when the donkey said, the grass is blue. The tiger said, no, the grass is green. The discussion became heated, so they decided to send the issue to arbitration before the king of beasts, the lion. As they approached the king on his throne, the donkey shouted out, Your Majesty, isn't it true that the grass is blue? And the lion said, If you believe it is true, then the grass is blue. And the donkey jumped up, Yes, yay, Your Majesty, the tiger disagrees with me. He contradicts me, and he annoys me. Please punish him. And the lion said, I will punish the tiger. He is forever banned from Africa. And the donkey jumped up and down the road, went down the road, saying, The grass is blue, the grass is blue. Going down the road. Tiger approached the lion and said, Your Highness, why did you punish me? After all, the grass is green. The lion said, You know the grass is green. I know the grass is green. Tiger said, So why do you punish me? The lion said, The question is not good. The punishment is not whether the grass or green is green or blue. Your punishment is because it is degrading and disgraceful for someone as wise and intelligent and brave as you to waste your time arguing with an ass. And today, that's why there are no tigers in Africa. Whoa. You see, you don't waste time arguing with a fool. There are severe consequences. And all the other big cats learned that lesson from the King of Beasts. For example, one day there was going to be a race between a pack of greyhound racing dogs and a cheetah. They all lined up at the starting line, and bang! At the sound of the gun, the dogs shot off down the road, racing as fast as they could. But everyone was surprised when they looked around and saw that the cheetah had not moved a muscle. When they asked why, the coordinator said, Sometimes it is a disgrace. It is an insult to prove how good you are to others. See, the cheetah uses his speed to hunt, not to prove to dogs that he is stronger. Don't waste your time arguing with a fool. And there are lessons for grown-ups, grown folks, and for children. A young girl, a daughter, had 2 apples, one in each hand, bright, juicy red apples. Her mother asked for one of them. Her daughter took a bite out of one apple. Then she took a bite out of the other apple. And her mom was disappointed at her daughter, who was selfish and greedy, until the daughter handed one apple to her mom and said, Here, Mom, this one is the sweetest. See, the lesson, the detail. Don't be too quick to judge. There was a young boy. He asked his dad, he said, Dad, what is the size of God? His dad looked up in the sky, saw an airplane, and he said, Son, how big is that airplane? The boy looked up and he said, Wow, Dad, it is really small. It is far away. Then Dad took his son to the airport, and as they walked through the terminal, they looked out the window, and Dad asked his son, Son, how big is that airplane? And the boy said, Wow, that is really big. Then his dad explained, the size of God is determined by how close you are to him. If you are close to God, the closer you are, the greater role He will play in your life. Details mean a lot. Now, I never go or have a storytelling session without talking about my dear old grandma. Grandma Annie V. Claybrooks was born in Tennessee, and she married Annie V. Tucker, her maiden name, but she married my grandfather, George Claybrooks. And they were in Tennessee. This was during Jim Crow times, and things weren't too good for people who spoke their mind back then. And so my grandpa and grandmother, they escaped from Tennessee, came north via the Great Migration, during the Great Migration, and they settled in the capital of Detroit, the North End. Well, throughout the North End, everyone knew about and loved my grandma's cooking. She made the best meals, particularly her hot, light, fluffy, buttery biscuits. Everyone loved my grandma's biscuits. Now, there's a story about that I tell, but not this time. But this time, one day, Grandma made it one of her specialty meals for my grandpa. When he came home from work, he ate the meal. And for dessert, she placed before him a slice of burnt pie. Now, I'm looking at Grandpa, wondering what he's going to say. But Grandpa didn't say a word. He just ate the pie and asked me how my day was. Later on, I overheard Grandma apologizing to my grandpa for the burnt pie. And I'll never forget what he said. He said, "I love your pie." And later on, I asked Grandpa if he had told a lie. And Grandpa said, "No, son, your grandma had a tough day at work. She was tired, and a harsh word could have hurt her even more." And you learn, always support those you love. Everyone makes mistakes. No one is perfect. Details. Now, Annie Mae, no relation to my grandma, Annie V. But this story, Annie Mae, was taken during the Jim Crow times, sharecropping, and she was like around 90 years old when she told this story. She and the other ladies were doing the washing and sewing for all the people while they were out sharecropping. And during that time, if they were caught with a book, it was instant punishment, severe beating, if not worse. But Grandma, no, not Grandma, I keep getting the animes mixed up, but Annie Mae, she had gotten hold of a book by Paul Laurence Dunbar. And she read the book. She missed hours of sleep reading those stories. And during the day, she would tell those stories to the other ladies while they were washing and cleaning, sewing. She and those women risked their lives for a story. And when I heard that story, it made what I do, it made it seem even more important that storytelling and stories saves lives. The importance of storytelling. Whoa. That's why we tell the stories, for the details, for the life lessons, for the history lessons, to perpetuate our African culture so that it never disappears. How many ears do you have? Excellent. because you need your third ear to understand the true telling, the true meaning of stories, and the importance of storytellers. Now, we have demonstrated to you, the men of DABS, how we do our thing. And with that, our tales are at an end. But I hope in our future, we meet again.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for showing up today, and everybody out there who watched this on our YouTube page. Today was a very special day as we returned to in-person storytelling. Everybody in this room here, they were special guests of ours as we stepped back out for the first time after this long pandemic run. Well, that's the end of season 2 for us. This is it. This is our season finale. We will see you in September for season 3. We're already working on it. Something that you will like definitely for the entire season. First, let me thank the Hannon Center. What a great building this is, and allowing us to come in here and record this session today. We hope to come back and do some other things for them as we plan and been working with them in partnership. If you ever get a chance, come down to Woodward and Forest. That's where they're located at. Come in and walk around. They actually cater to our elders. They're doing some special things with them. You'll love some of the artwork that they've put together and some of the artifacts that are in the building they worked on. They also have this auditorium here, the Black Box, and they also have a podcast center that people can come in and do podcasts. For all of us, our music director, Michelle McKinney, our director of technical difficulties and everything else that takes place. She puts all our technical work together, Jasmine Ross. Our man behind the camera today, James Graham. Our vice president, Larry Castleberry, who is also over programming. He's the one that comes up with these ideas for all the different programs, along with myself. I'm the creator of the Fourth Friday Story Hour, and I'm the program show director, along with the Association Detroit Black Storytellers. We thank you so much for tuning in this year. If you missed anything this year, stay on this page here, our YouTube page. Look through all the shows. They're absolutely free. Take a second, subscribe to it. This way, when we do put something out, you'll be notified by email along with a starting time when it's coming up the day before or at the day of. Hey, we hope you enjoyed this year. We'll see you in September. Until next time.
Hello, my name is Michelle Perry. I am the historian for the Detroit Association of Black Storytellers. Hopefully you have enjoyed all of our virtual stories on YouTube, as well as on podcast Buzzsprouts, or possibly when you came to see us in our live concerts down through the years. Detroit Association of Black Storytellers, or DABS as we call ourselves, is a 501c3 organization. That means all donations are tax deductible and no amount is too small. We are able to put these programs on because of your generous support. And your generous support will enable us to continue with our program of servicing the community. If you want to make a donation, click on PayPal, DETROITABS@gmail.com. Or you can mail your donations to Detroit Associations of Black Storytellers at 1401 West 4th Street, P.O. Box 441004, Detroit, Michigan 48224. May you have peace and blessings, and thank you from all of the members of Detroit Associations of Black Storytellers. I say.